Thanks for staying with us here on Joy News Prime. Now, the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Badbin, has directed a parliamentary probe into government's COVID-19 expenditure. The Speaker's directive followed a presentation made to the House today by the Finance Minister on COVID-19 related expenditure for 2020 and 2021. The answers provided by the Minister did not satisfy both the minority and the Speaker, who has now asked the Joint Committees of Finance and Health to probe the expenditure and report back to the House. Parliamentary correspondent Kweku Asante has more in this report.
After failing on 2 occasions to make a statement on COVID-19 expenditure, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta finally appeared before Parliament to render an account of government's expenditure on COVID-19. According to the Finance Minister, government has spent 12 billion cedis on COVID-19 related expenditure for 2020 and 2021.
For the year 2020 and 2021, the program expenditure amounted to 15.763 million for the COVID-19 related expenditure, out of which the actual utilization was 12.036 million. In 2020, a total amount of 11.162 million, this includes a cap, was programmed for COVID-19 related expenditure. Out of this amount, a total of 8.12 billion was utilized. The amount was utilized to provide support to households, supply equipment, and provide relief to health workers, health infrastructure, security operations, evacuations, quarantine and coordination, economic relief, stabilization and revitalization, and COVID-19 complementary releases. Mr. Speaker, a total amount of 4.6 billion was programmed in the 2021 budget for COVID-19 related expenses. At the end of 2021, total utilization was 3.9 billion, representing 85% utilization.
The minority in Parliament have described the responses given by the Minister as inconsistent and unsatisfactory. Ranking member on the Finance Committee, Dr. Kisela Toforsen, says the Minister did not account for about 7.3 billion cedis.
One particular one that is conspicuously missing in it is the COVID-19 Trust Fund that was established by the President of the Republic of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, that is critical because any amount that accrued to the fund is public fund and it should be accounted as such. So far, from January 2020 to December 2021, he has spent 12 billion of that money, 12 billion. What he has failed to do is to tell us that between the 19.3 billion and the 12 billion, the difference of 7.3 billion, where the money is and what they have used the money for. I call on you, Mr. Speaker, to set up an ad hoc committee so that we can bring the various heads of the MDAs, in particular, that spent the money, to account for this in detail.
Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu backed the calls of his ranking member for an independent probe into the expenditure.
The President says 17.7 billion. The Minister says 12 billion. Yet he received 19 billion. The rest of the money we are demanding. So, Mr. Speaker, we demand that you refer this statement to a committee of Parliament, whether it's an existing committee or a standing committee, to probe COVID expenditure beyond the headline numbers.
But the majority side opposed this request. Both the majority leader, Osei Mensah Bonsu, and his deputy, Alexander Afenyo-Markin, argued the NDC minority had no justifiable basis to make the request.
There are subject matter committees that can have responsibility. Why can't we ask for the setting up of an ad hoc committee? The Speaker, as far as I'm concerned, it has no basis. It has no basis. Putting all their comments together, the Minister was consistent, was transparent, and must be commended.
However, Speaker of Parliament Alban Badbin sided with the minority and ordered the Joint Committee of Finance and Health to probe the expenditure. According to the Speaker, there are gaps in the answers provided by the Finance Minister.
The directive is for the Committee on Finance, supported by the Committee on Health, to investigate and inquire further into the application and utilization of all the revenues received, referred to as COVID-19 funds, and to report to the House.
The committees are expected to present their report within the first month of the House returning from its recess in August. The work of the committee is billed to be a tussle with both sides holding on to entrenched positions. Kweku Asante, Joy News, Parliament House, Accra.
Well, a lot of figures were thrown around today by the Finance Minister, but the Joy Research Desk has been keeping tabs on the account given today by Ken Ofori-Atta, juxtaposing it with the previous account on COVID-19 related expenses captured in the previous budget, especially the 2021 Media Budget Review. Isaac Kofi, who is a data analyst with the Joy Research Desk, joins me in the studio with some of their findings. Kofi, walk us through the figures as you have found.
Right, so NS government says they've spent 12 billion Ghana cedis on COVID, but let's look at the genesis of this whole expenditure. So in 2020 Media Budget Review, the Finance Minister went to Parliament and requested for an amount of 11.16 billion Ghana cedis to spend on COVID, and at the end of 2020, the government ended up spending only 8.12 billion cedis out of the 11 billion cedis that they requested for.
Okay.
Then fast forward in 2021, the Minister of Finance also went to Parliament again requesting for 4.6 billion Ghana cedis to spend on COVID in 2021. And at the end of 2021, the government has spent 3.9 billion Ghana cedis on COVID. So if you add these two block items in blue, that will give you the 12.04 billion Ghana cedis that the Finance Minister is saying government has spent on COVID-19. Now let's do some breakdown, and as you can see this on your screens, in 2020 2021 Media Budget Review, this chart also appeared in the 2021 Media Budget Review, and the same chart was replicated by the Finance Minister today in his statement.
Okay.
And so in 2020, government, out of the 8.12 billion Ghana cedis that they said is spent on COVID-19, they ended up spending 1.55 billion cedis to support households. And if you look at household response, that cost that 1.05 billion cedis. Health infrastructure cost that 600 million. Security, 875 million Ghana cedis, and we have economic relief, 3.6 4 billion cedis. And then also we have the last but not the least, COVID-19 complementary releases, 401 billion.
So you're saying that this chart, as we saw in the Media Budget Review, was exactly what the Finance Minister presented today.
Exactly. Okay. Then the same chart for 2021, we saw this. The only difference is that as at the time in the Media Budget Review, when the Finance Minister presented this chart, it was only covering January to September.
Okay.
Today, he added the November to December. Okay. Bringing the figure down to 3.9 billion cedis. And so before that, the figure was around 2.62 billion cedis in the Media Budget Review. So these are the line items: provision for free water and electricity, 43 million Ghana cedis, and other items. And so if you combine what the Finance Minister presented in the Media Budget Review, 2.6, and what he provided, the addition, which is the 1.3 million, that will give us somewhere 3.9 billion Ghana cedis in 2021. And so this is a summary. 2020, we spent 8.12 billion on COVID. 2021, January to September, 2.65. November to December, same year, 2021, we spent 1.25, and the
bringing
total,
us to the
12.4 billion cedis. Now, another thing that NS we must talk about is the funding sources, because it's really, really important. This chart you see here also featured in the 2021 Media Budget Review, and the total amount that we received in to support the 2020 budget was 19.3 billion Ghana cedis, just as the finance minister said.
Okay.
And then you can see the line items,
as well.
5 billion from IMF, World Bank, 1.3 billion, and other ones. But, page 99 of the media budget review had two charts. This one and this one.
Okay.
Today, the finance minister presented only this and left out this.
Okay.
Which is somewhere 6.29 billion Ghana cedis. Now, if you add this to the previous one, this means that this will bring the total amount that we've received as support for COVID to 25.68 billion Ghana cedis. So the question is, why did the finance minister present two charts, this and that, in the media budget review, but only presented this
today in Parliament, which is partly, part of the reasons why the minority is saying there's a disparity and it must be probed. Kofi, thank you very much for bringing us those details and making it clear.